Hey, it's Kyle. Welcome to the basement. Got an issue with my battery. I went to put some things on the trailer. I'm going to take a trip in about a week and noticed that the overhead lights did not come on. So I went and checked the fuses. They were good. Made sure that I had a connection to the battery. And I don't think that this thing is putting out any power. So we're going to troubleshoot it and see what's going on. This is a Licitti Battery Box. I did a video on this, and I'll put a link in the description and in a card. These things basically, they're roll your own battery system. You give them a battery, or you put a battery in here, and then you hook it up, and this thing has all of the things that you basically need. I've got a 1,000-watt inverter here that has got just an Edison plug on the outside here that I can plug different things in up to 1,000 watts. And then it's got these 50 amp Anderson power pole connectors, and then it's got a 75 amp connector. This one is black because this is a 10 amp solar charge controller, MPPT, that's already in here. And this is great for plugging your solar panel on top of your hiker or your RV directly in here, and then charging the battery. If you pair this with a lithium ion battery that has a internal BMS system, which most of them do, all of them do, but if you can get one with a Bluetooth controller in it, you basically have an all-in-one solution where you can monitor your battery capacity and also have it in a nice battery box with an inverter and a solar charge controller. So, because this thing is not working, I'm going to do some troubleshooting steps, and hopefully you can come along and learn something. So, I've got a multimeter here. I'm going to put it on DC power, and I'm just going to basically take an Anderson power pole, which I've modified one of these cigarette light outlets, or these 12-volt accessory ports, and I put an Anderson power pole, and I rearranged the other ones. This one is a cigarette lighter adapter, and then this one is a USB PD port. So if I just match up black to black and red to red, I am showing that it's 91 millivolts, which means that it's not putting out any power. So let me just make sure that this thing is working correctly. I got to take the top off, and I want to take the probes, and I want to make sure that my battery is outputting 12.8 volts or 13.2 volts. I've already loosened the screws, and so this is what the inside looks like. The inverter is here at the top, and then you've got your Anderson power pole connectors. You've got all of your connectors that are for the accessory ports that I redid, and those are fused. So I'm going to set this aside, and then let me bring you in a little closer here. So I put a Victron shunt in here so I could monitor the usage. So that just sits there. If you got a newer battery that has a Bluetooth controller in it, you probably don't need this. But so what I'm going to do is, I've got the caps already off of the positive and negative here. So I am just going to take a look. Let me see if I can pull this out so you guys can see. So if I put my probes on the negative, so that is telling me that it's 1 volt. 1 volt. So this battery is not producing power. Sometimes with these batteries, they go to sleep if they don't see any voltage or any connection to them that is actually charging them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up and get my charger, hook it up, and see if I can wake this thing up and get it to respond. If not, I'm going to have to call Power Queen. This is the battery manufacturer, and see if I can get a replacement or see what's going on. But so let me go get my charger here, and we'll hook it up and see if it actually wakes the battery up. All right, got my charger here. This is just a generic charger that came with the Licitti Battery Box, and I've had good results with this. It's got an Anderson power pole connection on the end. I'm going to just plug this into one of the gray jacks here, and that green light should turn to red to say that it's charging. And now let me take a reading here as the device is charging, or as the battery is charging. And let me see. So it's 11.1 volts. So maybe this battery was discharged and it shut off. Not really sure, but I have a charger that is constantly plugged into the battery. It's a Victron charger. So I'm going to let this go for a bit and see if it wakes the battery up, and we'll go from there. So more to come. Also notice that the shunt needs a firmware update, so I'm going to do that. And so the shunt is showing that the battery is at 100%. I'm putting 11.8 volts into it at 18 amps, almost 19 amps, 225 watts. So I'm not really sure what happened here. I'm not getting any readings before 1050 on voltage. You can see that the voltage was, whenever I started charging at 1052, it was 11.6. So maybe this battery had a draw on it that I just didn't realize, and it drained it. So if that's the case, and I need to recharge this battery, my next question is, what is draining this battery in the Hiker that I don't know about, and why didn't the Victron charge controller that's in the Hiker, that's plugged into AC, why did it not charge this and keep it topped off? So I got some investigation to do. More to come. Alright, just got done charging the battery for about an hour. So we're going to see what the voltage is. So I'm expecting to see something that's 13 volts now. So I'm just wondering if, which seems okay, I would expect it a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is, and the battery is not hot, so one of the issues is while you're charging, if the battery has gone bad, to make sure that it's not hot, which it's not. So I'm going to keep charging this battery for a while. I'm going to make sure that, just for giggles here, I'm going to turn this inverter on. Yep, the inverter turns on. So I am going to keep charging this battery. I'm going to keep an eye on it because you want to make sure that, these lithium-ion batteries, there's videos on the internet of these things not exploding, but basically busting out, and there's a fire. It will catch on fire. So it's not warm. I'm not feeling anything that's concerning. So I'm going to keep on charging it here for a couple more hours and see where we're at. If this thing goes more than 4 or 5 hours and it's still charging, I guess I know that it's bad. I'm a little concerned about that rapid discharge, because the internet says that if you got a battery that either, it's hot whenever you charge it, it has a rapid discharge, or just won't keep a charge, it's probably bad, and there's probably a cell in here or a couple of cells that are bad, and it's keeping that from the battery from charging. So going to charge it for a little bit more, see where we're at. All right, I think I figured out what's going on. So a couple of weeks back, maybe 3 weeks back, I unplugged my battery charger from my hiker that is inside the power strip. I unplugged that to do something. I forgot what I was doing, but anyway, the battery was not getting a charge from the charger inside the hiker. So the battery drained. That's what went on, and the battery shut off. The BMS did its job and shut off the battery whenever it got down to, probably lower than 12 volts. It shut itself off like it was supposed to. Now, what was draining the battery? There is a light inside of my Ice Cove fridge that is on 24/7. Doesn't matter if the fridge is on and running. The fridge could be off, physically off, but still plugged in, and that light is still on and drains about a half a watt. So I'm assuming that that is what drained the battery over weeks and weeks of just being on. It brought the voltage down and killed the battery. So, case in point, if you have something that is draining your battery and you don't know where it is and everything is off, you might want to take a look at your fridge to see if the light inside the fridge cost you energy inside your battery. So, word to the wise, just wanted to point that out. Again, charging the battery, going to put it back in. I think everything will be okay. I got everything back to normal. Also shut off the internal light on, I cut the power to the fridge with the switch inside of the fridge box on the hiker. So that should not be an issue anymore, but just wanted to give a PSA. Thanks for watching.